I don't think anybody may have heard you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Welcome to the Inkster City Council virtual meeting, June 1st, 2020. Call meeting to order. We're going to first start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, we do have Reverend Pastor Herms on the line to say a prayer for us.
Let us bow our heads. Our Father who art in heaven, we come before thee on this evening. Lord God, first and foremost, thanking you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for this body of governance that is taking care of the business of all of the citizens of this great city. We pray, Lord, for divine leadership and guidance from heaven, and that you bestow upon them the necessary wisdom and knowledge to lead us down the path you would have us to go. We ask, Father, that during this time of pandemic, that you give them an extra measure of your grace and your mercy as they go through this trying time with all of us. And we ask, Lord God, that you protect them from this virus and keep them from all hurt, harm, and danger. And we ask for the extension of that blessing upon every citizen of this great city. And we ask this blessing totally in Jesus' precious name. Let us say amen.
Amen. Okay, roll call.
Mayor Wimberly has an excused absence today. Councilwoman Watley is absent. Councilwoman Washington?
Here.
Councilman Shaw?
Here.
Councilwoman Howard?
Here.
Councilman Williams?
Here.
And Councilman Chisholm?
Here.
We have 5 present tonight, and we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, David Jones, do we have a closed session tonight?
The closed session would just to be give an update. I don't need to take any action on anything, but I think it's probably prudent to just give you an update since the last 2 weeks. So yes, it shouldn't be long at all.
All right, thank you. Okay, approval of agenda.
So moved. Support.
Have support of all those in favor, say aye.
Councilwoman Howard, let's do a roll call vote since it's on the virtual meeting.
All right.
Councilman Shaw?
Yes.
Councilman Chisholm?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
And Councilmember Washington?
Yes.
So we have 5 yeas.
All right. Okay, we have one presentation. It's going to be on Chief Riley with Chief William Riley. Are you on? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm ready. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Look, basically tonight what we have is in the past, all of our basic codes for dealing with code enforcement, I don't know why, but in the past, they've always as a criminal element. It was a criminal charge. So if you got one of these citations, it fell within the criminal charge. And so we got with the judge, and we talked over before, why does it need to have criminal charges on something as simple as cutting grass or, of that nature? And all that does is put a criminal record on somebody that for something that's simple that other cities, it's just a civil infraction. So what we did was we went back and looked at the codes that we have on the books, and you can see some of them starting from A all the way down to J, from blight, noxious weeds, political science, things of that nature. We changed them from a criminal charge back to a civil charge. Because it used to be civil years ago. Why they changed them to criminal, I don't know. But we've gone back to change them back to civil so that people don't have a criminal charge for something as trash or having something in their yard, which of course goes on their record, which of course, if they go for a job, it's going to show up on their record. Now, there is a way that it can turn into a misdemeanor charge, criminal charge, if after 2 items, if they've been to court twice, they continue to do the same thing, the judge has the power to say, you know what, You just not learning your lesson, and you just like to pay fines. Then she has the option of making after that second one, the third one, she can turn it into a misdemeanor. But that's only after the second one and whatnot. So basically, what we're doing is we're changing these things back from a criminal back to a civil code.
Okay, so you're saying you're reducing the misdemeanor offense to a civil fraction. Is that what
Correct.
you're doing? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, do we have any questions?
Yes, I just have one, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Is there a timeline when the infractions need to be paid? Do they have a timeline for that?
That's usually set by the judge. Yes, that's usually set by the judge. And even like now, say for instance, when this goes into effect, and even now, if someone gave you an infraction, you could go up there within 24 to 48 hours when the court's open and pay for it. But we always suggest people go to court and let the judge adjudicate it.
Okay. So that means that she can kind of set, if the fines are not paid, she can kind of set interest on the fines as well?
Well, absolutely. What she can do is she can give them time. She can say, okay, somebody may have lost a job, somebody may be just moving or something. She has that power to, as a judge to make those decisions. And of course, we're not going to push back against it because she's the judge. And if she feels she wants to give her more time, then we'll go along with it now. And if she feels that, hey, somebody's had enough warnings and they have had enough citations, if she chooses to go the misdemeanor route, then, but the power falls back now that to get her away from these criminal charges, which our people don't need.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
That's all. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is David Jones. Can I chime in just quickly?
Yes.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just for further clarification, the reason that they went to misdemeanors, city misdemeanors, is because at one point in time we had the Administrative Hearings Bureau, where the city would have an attorney sit as a hearing officer to hear all of the code enforcement matters that were just civil matters, and there people would rack up violations but never pay. And the Administrative Hearings Bureau had no teeth in it, and the city wasn't able to collect the money. The reason it went back to enforcing them as misdemeanors is so the city could collect the revenue from the people who would collect dozens and dozens of code enforcement violations but never pay. Now, what's my understanding, Chief, we've already approved this ordinance some time ago, and I'm looking for when it was passed. What we need the council to vote on is just the schedule of fines for the code enforcement to back to the civil violations until the third one will constitute a misdemeanor. If they go without paying, then the third one will then become a misdemeanor.
Correct.
So we need council just to approve the schedule of fines, not the actual ordinances, because we drafted the ordinance and council passed it over a year ago.
Okay, so Attorney Jones, is it okay as far as the action requested?
Yeah, we can just indicate the ordinance was written that after the third one, it goes back up to the misdemeanor, and we're approving. We want the council to approve the schedule of fines for the first one, and I can tell you what they are. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it says like $100 for the first fine, it's $200 for the second fine.
Correct. I wasn't able to pull that up, Councilman Shaw, but that is correct. That schedule is proposed. That's what was proposed by code enforcement. And then the third one is the potential to go back up to the misdemeanor.
Yeah,
right. Third unpaid violation.
And these offenses, Madam Chair, these offenses go to the general fund, right?
Does it go to the general fund?
Well, they pay the court, and the court has a revenue sharing agreement where they pay the city a certain amount, the state a certain amount, so the city collects a certain percentage. So it goes pursuant to just like any other civil infraction or ticket violation. There's a percentage that comes to the city. The city doesn't get all of it because the court is run by, it's partially funded by the state, partially funded by the city.
Okay. Is Darren on here? I'm sorry, is Darren on here? Okay. All right. Are you all done, Mr. Riley? Chief Riley?
I'm done. Now let's hear any more questions for me.
Is there any more questions?
Mayor Pro Tem, I am here.
Oh, okay. All right, do anyone else have any more questions? Okay, we're moving on to the consent agenda.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, thank you. Did anyone hear me? I need someone to,
So move, Madam Chair.
so move, and now I need a support for consent agenda. Okay, it's been moved and supported. Okay, the roll call.
Councilman Chisholm? Councilman Chisholm?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard?
Yes.
Councilwoman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Shaw?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Wiley? I thought I saw her on here. Okay, maybe she's not on here.
Yeah, she's on here.
On there, yeah. Councilwoman Wiley, can you hear me?
What are we voting on?
The consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
And what does that entail?
That entails your meeting, the meeting minutes,
May 18th.
the May
Okay, so
18th, yeah.
we're unable to have that in our hand and be on these meetings or utilize our computer while we're, we can't see the minutes, or we don't have a hard copy. No, go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Do you put hard copies in everyone's mailbox?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. All right, so it has been approved, correct?
Yes.
All right, now moving on to boards and commissions. Is there any update? So that means there's no updates on boards, commissions, so we can move on?
Yes.
All right, we in new business then.
Consideration and approval to reduce certain misdemeanor offenses to civil infractions within the Code of Ordinance and the Schedule of Fees. I hope I said that correct, Attorney Jones.
So move. So move.
And the fines. Okay.
So move.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved.
George Williams.
I got it.
Williams, support by Councilman Shaw. All those, any discussion on this? If there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Roll
Aye.
call.
Are we doing roll call? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilwoman Watley,
Yes.
Councilman Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
and Councilmember Washington.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas.
All right then. Okay, we're down to public participation, and it's limited to 1 minute.
So our common practice lately has been for persons to submit their information to the clerk or raise their hand in the participant room, and we will acknowledge them at that particular time.
I have no comments that were emailed to me for this meeting.
Okay, Councilman Chisholm, do you have anyone in the room raising their hands, or should?
Not just yet. I know sometimes it's a slight delay. Oh, here we go right here. Matthew Carter, a guest, does have his hand raised, so I'm going to unmute him.
Okay. His name is Mr. Carter.
Yes, Matthew Carter. And he is unmuted.
Okay, Mr. Carter.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am trying to turn on my camera so that you guys can see me. I apologize. It says that I'm unable to start my video. Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. How you doing there?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Mayor Pro Tem. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to come in and speak. My name is Matt Carter, and I originally sent over an email to the council email address this afternoon. It may not have come through, but there was a lot of information in that email. First of all, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. I'm with USI Insurance Services, and my team is here with me. We actually started looking at the city's insurance program in November, and only last week received enough information to complete our analysis, which we presented in full last week to the executive team. In that email to council, we have highlighted significant areas of opportunity that, if acted on immediately, would greatly benefit the city of Inkster. In that email, there's a lot of information to look at, and I'm not sure if you guys have received it, but basically, we have reviewed the insurance policy of the city, and we've noted some problem areas that we'd like to discuss, and also we have a plan of action to where we can actually help save the city some money, reduce exposures, and then also look into filing a business interruption claim for lost revenue due to COVID-19. And what I'd like to do is try to get a meeting with the city council to go over my findings, if now is not an appropriate time for that.
Okay, tonight is not an appropriate time, but before we do all that, the mayor is absent today. So once we will talk to him and the city attorney and the treasurer, and once everybody is on board and read your email, someone will contact you back.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
I have a quick question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I know he said he emailed the council email, and I don't know if anybody got that. Is it possible that I guess we can provide him with the clerk's email, or I guess he could provide us with his so we can reach out to him directly?
I have his information. I know he has been in contact with Dennis Black in the mayor's office and myself, and we've had communication back and forth. So I'll make sure we get that information to the council.
Okay. All right.
I believe Ms. Brock was trying to raise her hand. I'm not sure if it went through or not, but I can unmute her at this time.
Okay.
That Brock. So I just sent it, the unmute. I'm waiting. There she is.
Hi, Ms. Brock.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. I have a question as it relates to budget amendments that come before council regarding salaries. Is it always stated that salaries are included in those amendments, or are they wrapped up in other things? And I'm asking because of transparency, and I have reason to believe that maybe some salaries kind of slid in and you guys are unaware of what you voted on.
Okay. Mr. Carrington, would you like to question?
Sure. Yes, Ms. Brocken, so to the first point of your question, I may need you to just make sure I'm answering your specific questions. To the first part of your question, we generally, with the budget amendment, will provide both summary as well as detailed information on the budget amendment. Since with the detailed information, it does spell out if we're looking to amend, as it relates to your question, if we're looking to add money to the salaries, we generally will provide that information. Now, we may not necessarily always spell out fully how, who is going to and how much, but the information is there if we're looking to amend a particular salary, which I'm not sure, I don't recall offhand if we did do that in the most recent budget amendment. But to your first part of your question, we do provide detail, not only for the department that we're seeking a budget amendment for, but also a detailed number that we're asking tied to a specific general ledger account. So we do get down to the that's usually the most granular level of detail to that general ledger account. And Ms. Brockman, remind me again, you had a second part of your question.
That's okay. Your first part answered my second part. Now I have a second question, which is, when would it not come across to council that way? When is it acceptable that is not detailed? When is that acceptable to provide council information, wanting them to vote on it, and they don't get the detailed information?
It really shouldn't be. I think it's, really imperative for the administration and more specifically for my office and myself to provide at least that level of transparency. So it really would, there really shouldn't be a situation where we're not, as in terms of my office, in terms of the administration, where we're not providing that level of information.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brock. We have another one, Mr. Chisholm?
Not that I see and not that I am formally aware of. I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any other implications that anyone wants to speak.
All right then, so I guess we move on then. Okay, City Clerk?
I just wanted to inform residents that we are accepting AV applications. You can place them in the Dropbox at City Hall. You can email them to me at frutledge@cityofinkster.com, which we have received a ton via email. So I am encouraging all residents to vote by absentee ballot. The state should have sent out an absentee application for you to receive a ballot so that you don't have to get caught up in the polls and feel like you're unsafe in reference to COVID-19. So I'm encouraging all residents to vote by absentee ballot. I'm also encouraging all residents, when I respond back to emails where they've sent the ballot, I also have a response, kind of like a generic response, to make sure that people have completed their census. So I want to encourage our residents to complete their 2020 census. Thank you.
Question for you, Felicia. So if a resident has the application that you sent out for absentee and the application that the state sent out, which one, which one can we do? Can we do either or?
You can do either or. Either or. It doesn't matter. You can do either one of them.
Okay.
Both contain the same information. They just might look a little different, but they contain the same information.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, moving on. City Treasurer, do you have anything for tonight?
I do. Good evening, Council. I did want to follow up with regards to the budget that we went over last week, and I want to thank everyone for plowing through that. We spent 3 evenings last week, and I'm sure it was a effort on everyone's part to get through that information, but we wanted to continue on with that process. We're still finalizing the water fund, the rate model, so we should have that information for you this week, but I wanted to make sure we get a date or start identifying some dates for us to meet again so that we can review the water fund as well as any other follow-up items that you guys may have, where administration is in the process of preparing responses on the questions that were asked during last week. And, I know there's a number of issues that need to be addressed as we move towards the adopted budget. So wanted to make sure we keep that front and center for everyone, and we can start again identifying some dates when we can move forward with the next steps in this process.
Okay. All right, Mr. Carrington, the budget has to be approved by next council meeting, correct?
Yeah, that would be the strong preference. We're going to have the public hearing on that date. And so we would like to be in a position where we can have an approved budget up for vote on that date 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, so you want this process to go the same? Everyone just email Felicia with their times date and time?
Yeah. And I think we, depending upon exactly how you guys want to handle it, I think we can get things addressed hopefully within one meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Council communications. Let's see. Okay. Councilman Williams.
I have no comments tonight. Just everybody continue to be safe.
All right. Councilwoman Legina.
I just want to say it's perilous times right now, and just encourage everybody, as Madam Clerk said, to vote. That's how you make your voices be heard. I also wanted to give thanks to 3801 Inkster Road. Every week they have been passing out food to over 200 Inkster residents. So I would just want to say thank you to them as well.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Watley.
Yes, Madam Chair or Madam Pro Tem, I am inquiring about the net 123. We passed that, and I'd like to know where that contract stands right now. Is there anyone who can speak to that for us?
Yeah, I can. This
okay, go ahead.
Jones. We made a proposal about 14 days ago with 123 Net, and they indicated in their initial response that our proposal was, they didn't see any problem with it, but they were going to run it by their lawyers. They came back and made significant changes to it. And Phineas and I had a conversation at the end of last week where I thought that perhaps it would be better if Phineas, as the technical person, contact the salesperson from 123 Net and see if they could reach some type of agreement, because it seemed as if while initially they had agreed to our terms, the lawyers looked at it again and stiffened it up. So if Phineas is on, I would ask him to kind of comment on his conversation with Jeff from 123 Net and take it from there. I know he's spoken to the mayor about it, but I'm not in a position to say how well or how he perceived their conversation. Are you there, Phineas?
Yes, I am. I can speak to 123 Net. The response back from 123 Net is on, or taking into consideration of two things that they're giving. They're giving an intangible product for a fiber network, along with, or a tangible product, along with an intangible product of internet services. Both of these products come with early termination fees. Any internet service provider who is providing service only, not many will actually build a fiber network for their client. But those that provide internet services, those services, when you sign the contract, comes with an early termination fee. Normally, 123 charges 100% of the remaining months of the contract if you cancel early in the contract. What they did for the city of Inkster is offer, for the first 60 months, 50% of the cost of the contract if we decide that we don't want to remain with them for the whole 10 years. After the first 60 months, the contract percentage early termination fee will be prorated. Lower than 50 each year, that percentage will go down. This is not normal. Again, normally it's 100%. If you're, say, for instance, with T-Mobile or Verizon, and you have a 5-year, 2-year contract with them, 3 months in, you say you don't want their product no more. What they would do is charge you the remaining months of that contract. So with that, 123 made it very clear that they were not going to go any lower than that, because it would cost them money. They would lose a lot of money, and it wouldn't be worth them getting into a contract with us if we want to cancel the contract for any reason and walk away after 60 months, they would lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they would not agree to that.
Okay, well, what I'm basically interested in is that we passed this at the last council meeting, so it's not a done deal. We're going to have to go back over and do this again.
No, so let me chime in. We passed it with subject to review and settlement with the city attorneys approving the contract. So now what needs to happen is based on Phineas's conversation with 123Net, if he recommends that we still enter into this agreement, even though it wasn't optimal from our typical contract standpoint, that needs to be communicated to him by the administration and council. And if that's the case, we can simply sign off on the final stages of the deal because it was approved subject to our final review. So Phineas, would you give the opinion to council what you think, even though they seemingly have changed their position, where at first they indicated they were okay with the terms, now they've come back and pushed back a little bit. Are you still recommending that we accept the final offer?
Here's why I would recommend it from an IT standpoint and my own experience with these type of contracts. 123Net 1 is building a brand new network. Within that network, they're giving us 6 circuits. Each one of those six circuits become failovers if any one of the 6 locations go down. The likelihood of the 123 network going down is very, very low because they have certain fail-safe there, given that you got 6 networks. Each one of those networks can be a failover for any one of the 6 locations. We would literally have to lose internet at all 6 locations in order for our network to go down. You combine that with the fact that we're getting a brand new network that's underground, it's all fiber. Fiber normally lasts 15 to 20 years before it needs to be having some serious maintenance or you start having problems with it. That in consideration with Westland is spending $6,800 for 1 circuit and we're spending $4,500 for 6 circuits over a 10-year period. And the fact that this is a local company 45 minutes away, their SLAs is a response within 4 hours. If they can't repair the service, they start to give the credits at 4 hours, 1 day. And if it reaches 1 week, the contract is non void. It no longer exists and we can just completely walk away without any fees. All that being said, yes, I highly recommend this.
Well, there it is. We can finalize it this week.
Okay, you can send us an email of the whatever you guys finalized and changed.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Pro Tem, I have another situation.
Okay.
I would like to know how many of my colleagues are aware that in that last budget amendment, we approved a salary for Dennis Black. Okay, I take your silence by you didn't know that. I think we need to start as a council working together for greater transparency because things are not happening the way they should happen. And we are the fiduciaries of this city. We have been elected to speak for the people. And if we don't know what's going on, how can we address these situations? So I'd like us all to take a little more effort in following up on these things that are happening, that you know are happening and I know are happening, but no one is speaking up about it. That's all I had.
Okay, so in your question, well, in your statement, maybe if going forward, if we have a budget amendment, maybe they, and if it includes salaries, maybe they should put the person's name on whose salaries may be increasing. Would that help?
I don't know. I think honesty would help. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for honesty. I'm looking for transparency. I'm looking for all those things this administration has promised but has not come forth with.
Yeah, because I know going backwards, when we do have a budget amendment, It may be to a certain department. And I'm not sure if all of them have, some of them say salaries. Maybe they may not say whom the salaries are going to, but I think they do say salaries. Darren, would you like to chime in on this?
Yeah, and firstly to Councilman Watley's point, just a point of clarification, it wasn't salaries. And I don't know if this was related to the earlier question. It was because as had been provided by the administration, there were some questions that were presented, I think, at the last council meeting. Mr. Black is not on a salary; he's on a personal services arrangement. So the amendment did include funds that were designed and have gone to Mr. Black. But those funds were not salaries because he's not an employee. He's serving again as an advisor on personal services.
Semantics. That's semantics.
Well, I was just, Ms. Wiley, I was just clarifying. It wasn't salaries. That's all I'm saying. And I acknowledge that the money was in the budget. The money was for Mr. Black, but it wasn't in salaries. It was in the professional consulting category.
Yeah,
Just making a point of clarification.
Wait, we'll let him finish. Go ahead, Darren.
So I just wanted to make that point of clarification to Ms. Watley's point. That money was in the budget amendment. It was in the mayor's office, but it just was not in this. It wasn't in the salaries category. It was in the professional consulting. Because again, he's not an employee. He's a 1099 contractor.
Okay.
Can I say this?
Wait 1 second. Sandra, did he answer your question?
No, because he said if you call it something else, you didn't do it. And I can't accept that. I said transparency, I said honesty, and none of that happened during this period. So you can say anything you like, but just because we all know that this man was not supposed to be paid with taxpayer dollars. That was the last thing we said, okay? But it was done anyway. And you say it's not a salary because he's not an employee. It doesn't matter. He got the money. And it came
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with the difference between.
And that is taxpayer dollars. And we are here to protect those taxpayer dollars. And we failed miserably with help.
No.
Okay, all right.
Well, Madam Chair.
Wait 1 second, Councilman Williams, because Councilman Shaw had a question.
Well, I didn't have a question. I'm just commenting off of this. When I see professional consultants, now there's no straight line that the mayor has to have a particular name or something there. From my understanding, it's a professional consultant. Now, if he's under that, Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, he can use a professional consultant under those dollars. Am I correct?
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, that was the intent. I mean, what was there, the level of transparency that everyone would have liked? I can't say that, but there was never any intent to try and hide it. There were, and keep in mind the context of what was going on. We were dealing with the fact that we were trying to address several $100,000 in budget gap. And so, I can say there was never any intent. I worked on that budget amendment with people, in the administration. And, I can understand where Member Watley is coming from, but there's never been any attempt to try and, as a person who put that in their budget amendment, who's processed these checks as the invoices have been submitted, there's never been any attempt, from anyone that I can see to hide or try and do anything like that. Can we do better? Can we point these things out? But again, anytime there's any questions or anything like that, we try and answer them upfront and as complete as possible. And again, didn't disclose that. I don't even think that category was really even being used. There's only been couple vendors who have been utilized out of that specific general ledger account. So it's not like we're running 10 vendors out of there and we're trying to hide someone or conceal anything. But I acknowledge the sentiment and the point that is being made, and can just say, certainly the information is there, and if we want to try and clarify it to a larger extent, we certainly can make every attempt to do that.
Now, also, Madam Chair, the mayor's office can be able to use that professional consultant up to a certain amount before council's approval. Am I correct, Darren?
Yeah.
Well, under the purchasing policy, if the money has not been budgeted, then anything above $5,000 requires council's approval. In this case, council approved the money in the budget. So that was the rationale for not bringing it separately, as we do in a number of different cases. There are times when we do bring things to council, even if the monies have been budgeted, because we want to have transparency, we want to get that input. This was a different case, but again, and the city attorney can weigh in, but the monies were budgeted, and it was an advisor that the mayor was using. Honestly, in the larger scheme of things, it wasn't a ton of money, but again, I understand the sentiment. I understand where some minds can differ, and respect that, and not trying to deny or be disagreeable with the points that are being made.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I want to make sure that all of my colleagues know that we are being responsible for this budget. Now, if it's budgeted for a certain amount under personal consultants, then the mayor's office can use it any way the mayor so chooses. Now, when I say mayor, I'm talking about whoever's in that capacity. The office is able to use that personal consultant if they so whatever they see fit, as long as it's budgeted as a budget item under personal consultant. Am I correct?
That would be my understanding, Councilman.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, we're going to continue on with our council member comments. Councilman Shaw, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I did want to speak to the administration concerning
go ahead.
Madam Chair, I did want to speak to the administration concerning the federal work share program. I don't know if the administration has heard about the federal work share program. It's something that we can possibly utilize even in this budget here. I don't know if Darren has heard of that yet.
Yeah, I am familiar with that. Actually had some opportunity to look at that program. The city clerk has shared some important information with me on that as well, that she's been able to acquire. And we are certainly looking at that in terms of what options and alternatives may be available. At this point, we don't have, at least I don't have anything more that I can say, but it is certainly something that we are, aware of. We're taking a look at that. We have some information to see exactly how it may be beneficial for the city of Inkster.
Okay. And also the Annapolis Point project. Are we looking at anything as far as development going on or any inquiries concerning that property over there? Because the infrastructure is still there. I don't know if Darren, or can speak to that I know we spent a lot of money over there in that section. I don't know if the infrastructure is falling apart right now. What's the word? Do you have any word on that?
I don't. I believe Mr. Black has been working, out of the mayor's office. I'm just not. I'm not up to speed on exactly what may be the details with that project at this point. And I don't know if anyone from the administration who's on the call can speak to that or not. But we can certainly follow up. We'll have our department head meeting tomorrow, and I'll make sure we'll follow up with that. I know the mayor.
I did, Mr. Carrington, excuse me, Madam Chair. I did talk with the mayor about that, and they are trying to work on someone to complete that project. So that's in my district, and we've been talking about, the mental structures in the ground, they're putting houses up over there. So said they might have someone to do that. So they've been working on it. I know that. That's
Yeah,
the
because
part I know.
I know we got that in the budget as far as lighting is concerned over there. So I know we're paying for that lighting. Another thing I have is, are we doing any pot fill-ins right now with the DPS department?
Potholes?
Yes.
I don't know if Mr. Bivens is on again. I can't personally speak to that. And I don't know. I see him out there. Can you, Councilman Chisholm, can you
unmute him?
pull him on in there? Pull him on in here. See on while you at it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Drum, did you hear the question about the potholes from Councilman Shaw?
Yes, we are taking information from the council in reference to potholes. I have addressed them in District 5. I've addressed them in District 1, I believe, and some in District 6, my district. So, yes, we are.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we're right now, we've been at an ambush with the rain and the high grass. So we're kind of addressing that right now. So the last 2 weeks, I have not addressed any potholes, but I know of potholes out there that we will be getting back on next week, citywide. So I do have a crew going out every day, a 2-man crew addressing those. Just right now, I'm trying to get some of this grass down on the northeast and northwest section of the city.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next spiel where you going on the northeast section of the grass cutting. But Jerome, as far as Inkster Road and Middle Belt on Avondale, you usually is pretty good on it. I was waiting for it, so I'm just looking at it right now.
Yeah, we cut. We're in your section. We were in your section today. We're in Harrison coming up to Inkster Road, which will cover your section.
Okay. Now with the potholes from Inkster Road to Middle Belt, Avondale is notorious for that.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
That's all you have? Thank you, Mr. Bivens.
You're welcome.
Final Councilman Stephen Chisholm, you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I have 3 statements. One, I just wanted to echo the concerns that Councilwoman Wiley expressed about 123 net. So I was curious about that as well. So I'm glad that did come before us, because I had expressed concerns when we voted on that in the past. How would we be acting upon this if there were some changes or something like that on the back end? So I'm glad to see that's being cared for. And then just to my understanding, my second statement, just from what I'm understanding, as far as what Councilwoman Watley was speaking on with the budget amendment and the purchasing policy and the line item being 5,000 or more, that would have to come before council to be voted on. Just from what I'm getting, I guess from November up until the budget amendment, which was in March when we voted on that, there was nothing really said to that. It never came before council for a vote for a contract or anything like that, whether the person was an employee or a contractor. And then, of course, yes, we did vote on that budget amendment from March into the end of the fiscal year. But that just covered it, from my understanding, that last quarter, which is what we're in right now. And then also, the last thing I want to read, which is in regards to everything that's been happening. And this was something that I put on social media, just something I'm kind of standing for with what's going on in the world right now. Peaceful protests are a great way to stand up for what's right. An additional tool that we all are enabled to use is the right to vote. Being reactive is okay, but being proactive is a phenomenal solution. By holding our elected officials accountable, we effectively change the laws and the rhetoric overall. Keep in mind, as a people, we vote for the judicial, legislative, and executive branches in our government. We set the bar. Don't let peaceful protest be the only way we engage to change America. Let your voice be heard by completing the census and casting your vote. to honor the memory of those who succumbed to brutality by ensuring you did your part in making a positive change. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chisholm. And speaking of census, is Ernestine, she's not, is she? Mr. Chisholm?
Chair,
Yes.
I just have one more question.
Okay, okay, wait one second. Mr.
I'm looking right now. I don't believe she's in the room.
Okay, she's not in the room?
I don't think so, unless she called in from a phone number that it's only 3 random phone numbers on here. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I know what her number starts with. I don't see her in here.
Okay. And the only thing I have is just make sure that we all fill out our census because it's very, very important on funding. And if we get this, it would do the city some good. That's all I have. Going back to Councilwoman Wiley.
Yes, I'd just like to ask Mr. Carrington if there is a line item in the mayor's budget for professional consultants. Maybe I'm wrong, correct me, but I thought he had just 3 in there, the mayor, administrative assistant, and the cable.
Ms. Wiley, that's in the salaries.
The salaries.
So we have, we've got the salaries, and I don't have it in front of me, but I believe the salaries permanent general ledger account, and then the professional services is a separate general ledger account.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
101-171-801.
That's the personal services.
Yeah, that's for professional services. Yes.
Madam Pro Tem, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
To Brother Bivens, are you still on the line?
He's here.
Okay. As Brother Bivens, how are we coming with that engineer about the sewage flooding over in my district? How we coming with the engineer that we got? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
That's a work in progress. That's not going to be resolved overnight, as it didn't occur overnight. So we're doing a hydraulic model study on the Andover pump station right now, in conjunction in the ordinance and abatement orders with the state. And once I have that information, I will share with mayor and council on what will be determined to take place at the Andover pump station. But like I said, that's a work in progress right now. Hopefully before the end of this year, we'll have that information before you guys. But we're doing some hydraulic studies over there now and testing as each rain occurrence takes place. We gather information and provide it to the state to make sure we're in accordance to make sure that pump station is functioning and the capacity it should. So that's what I have for you at this present time. And like I said, once the engineers complete their study and model, I will bring that forth to mayor and council with some resolutions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Madam Chair, just one quick thing, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Even in the budget for that line item for professional consultants, I think I remember if my colleagues would check their email, I think the mayor sent out something concerning Mr. Black not being on this budget. And we went over this budget. It was requested by the mayor's office, but it's not in the recommended budget 2021. So if you look at that line item, you will see the $50,000 is not in the recommended budget. So it was not in this budget that we're getting ready to go through on the 15th.
All right, then. So I guess we finished with our, thank you, Councilman Shaw. So now we have a closed session item with Attorney Jones. So can someone make a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Support.
So moved and support. Roll call.
Councilmember Howard?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley? Councilmember Wiley?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chisholm.
Yes.
We have 6 yeas, Madam Chair.
All right.
So we're waiting on the host to send us into closed session into a breakout room.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're going to move. We didn't have anything to vote on in closed session, so we're going to move for adjournment.
So move.
Support.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington.
Yes.
Have 6 yeas, Madam Chair.
Yes. All right, then this is it.
Stay
All
safe.
right.
Have a blessed day. Goodbye. I'm out.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.